All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets on PrizePicks today for Flex Friday. Let's go ahead and get into what we're going to be covering else in this video. So, yes, going to be covering yesterday's recap, get into the Flex Friday slip, talking about some big edges that we have in college basketball today currently, and then we'll be giving you guys a PrizePicks Flex Friday slip as well as an underdog slip because we are getting a NBA discount token for the NBA in-season tournament. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the recap from yesterday. So let's start with the extremely tilting part from yesterday, the underdog slip. So I think it was like about 6.5 minutes left in this game. Washington is about to, they should have kicked a field goal to go up by 1 against the Eagles. And this one probably, it would have cashed easily. Like everything was seemingly very comfortable at that point. That was the only one that was seemingly the biggest sweat. They don't. They go for it, 4th and 2. They don't get it. Momentum shifts. And then the game's pretty much over from there. I think 3 plays later, Dallas Goedert catches like a deep pass, very annoying there, and then Zach Ertz gets a garbage time touchdown and 2-point conversion. Just so annoyed there because it seemed like this one was going to hit easily. But then we get into PrizePicks, a much better day on PrizePicks. So I mentioned that I would be running this out as a 2-slip bet, and I recommend you guys do that as well. So that was nice to see that one hit. That was an easy bet that we had both on the PrizePicks board and also just in general for the day on that site. Nice to see that hit. That hit easily. And then we did get a little bit unlucky, I would say, with Kyrie Irving being ruled out. Thankfully, Clay still got his under fantasy score. If you guys checked this last night, it was actually, I think they gave him a block or something like that, or a steal, and then they took it away this morning. Nice to see. But then John Collins ended up going off. We kind of knew that was the issue. John Collins is very much hit or miss lately, and so he ended up hitting in that game. But we'll take that. 8 for 12 total on the day. At least 1 unit of profit, which is nice. So now we go ahead and get into the board for today. We are going to start off with college basketball. So college basketball, we are getting a decent edge here with Brandon Smith for over his fantasy score. We can see the average sportsbook line likes him to get 39. We can see the projection data likes him to get 44.67. I am very fascinated to see if Underdog is going to give us some college basketball lines today so that we can be able to compare where we're getting some edges. Guys, last week, it was a weird week in the sense that kind of a bad PrizePicks week, but then ended up being like my best underdog week or like my second best underdog week of the year thus far because of the massive prop line differences that we had in PGA and also in college basketball, where it seemed like just most of the bets where we had those massive prop line differences were hitting on Underdog. That being said, the data is really telling us something here that it really likes Brandon Smith to get over his fantasy score here. And so we look at it, guys. It is an interesting matchup, I would say, today going against Alabama, one of the best teams in college basketball. Now, the thing with it is, if Purdue continue to score decently, especially against Alabama, who has been a team that other players can score against, I actually don't mind this one. This should be a pretty good one for us. We look at it. Brandon Smith had one bad game mixed in here where he couldn't hit a basket, and that's a concern. And then last game as well against UConn, 4 for 12, so not that good there. Where he makes up for it is with these assists. If he is getting these assists, that's huge because assists count for 1.5x. And obviously, if you're getting 8, that's huge. And also, as long as he's plus on the steals / blocks to turnovers, we're going to be sitting pretty good here. And so it's crazy that's that high of a line. But thus far this season, he has been able to get this over 2 out of 3 games. So that is something that I think we're going to be pretty good with. Another one that we're seeing is with Eric Dixon, guys. Eric Dixon, we're seeing a lot of his props have the flame mark next to them. And so I'm kind of curious as to why. Are people betting the overs? Probably, right? People love this, right? People love betting on the last 5. They think that that's the most crucial thing. They see the green, they're betting more. All right, let's say people are right. Well, we're going to see that this over fantasy score, like the data is telling us, is also going to be a great one here as well. The concern is going to be his matchup against Virginia, typically a slower paced type of matchup. And I think that's why the under is actually being favored here, mostly due to that matchup. And so it's extremely fascinating. I can see why people don't want to bet on this one. Because of that, because they see that last 5, he's been crushing that over. But it does seem to be off by a little bit. You know, the average sportsbook line would give him 31. Projection data would give him the under as well. This is one of those ones where it's like I would rather have not seen the last 5 average, but at the same time, we're seeing that it is going to be a good bet for us. I want to continue on with college basketball because we are getting a couple of other ones that are pretty good as well. We got the Wisconsin Badgers point guard John Tongue here, where I like his over fantasy score as well. We can see the average sportsbook line would actually only have it at 23.41, but it would heavily be favoring the over there, about 54.1%. We see that the projection data does not agree with the over here, so this could be a little bit of a tight sweat. But we look at this bet, we can see he's kind of really crushed the over twice and didn't crush the over once. Now, the issue that I have with the Badgers is that this has kind of been a theme over the past like year and a half, is that there's really not consistent production. It's kind of just spread out. There's not like an alpha, if you will. But I think it's worth calling out. He has been scoring a decent amount. And so that's pretty crucial to me. Obviously needs to get a couple more assists, and maybe a steal would be nice as well. Needs to cut back on the turnovers as well. But he's been impressive thus far. Arizona, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And I say that because they haven't really faced anyone just yet. Then the last one that we have here for college basketball right now is going to be Caleb Love for over his fantasy score. This is another one that's kind of a tighter line. We see the projection data likes the over. We see that the average sportsbook line likes the over by, about 0.67. That's nice. So that gives him about a 54% edge here on this slate. Now, Caleb Love gets this matchup with Wisconsin, which I guess if we're betting on one over fantasy score, we could bet the other one, obviously just hoping that this game stays close. We can see he has been very much hit or miss thus far through 2 games. Really crushed the over in one game. I shouldn't say crushed, but got it pretty easily. And then last game against Old Dominion, 15. Now, I think it's worth calling out, guys, though, his minutes. 23 minutes, 21 minutes. So he hasn't needed to get those minutes. And so that's the thing. He should be getting those minutes in this game. And thus, if he does, if it's closer to 30, right, he should be able to get that over as well. So we really are just betting. If we're betting on one, I think we're betting on the other. And so I'm okay betting this over as well. And so now let's go ahead and jump on into the NBA, guys. We have a lot of interesting spots today in the NBA. So I want to start off with calling out really Miami. So Miami, we have some interesting bets. So Jimmy Butler's going to be out in this game. And when we look at it, guys, it's fascinating, some of the lines that we're getting. So we look at Terry Rozier. You look at Terry Rozier's production with Jimmy Butler off the court thus far this season. It hasn't been good. He's only averaging like 23 points, rebounds, and assists per 36 with him off the court. And his fantasy score is only about 31 fantasy points per 36. So this line that we're getting here for his fantasy score is being favored for the under. And that's just betting on him not getting 36 minutes. If he gets 33, he probably will get the under. It's definitely an interesting line that we have here. We see the game total, decently high scoring game. They are 4-point dogs in that game as well. So kind of a hit or miss one there. Another one that's kind of interesting here is Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero should be able to go off in this game. He averages 31 points per 36, 5.7 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 47 fantasy points per 36. And so this is a spot that I actually really like Tyler Hero on. And we see Underdog has it at 35.5 still. I actually don't mind the over there. So if you guys are playing on Underdog, obviously we have that token. This could be one that you attach to it. We'll jump into Underdog in a second there, but I wanted to call that out. Then Jaime Jaquez is a guy that sees a decent amount of usage bump in this spot, so he's not going to be a terrible option for us as well. Another spot I want to get into is going to be the Toronto Raptors. So the Raptors are going to be without Emmanuel Quickley again, and also still Scotty Barnes. We have seen RJ Barrett. He gets a big bump in his usage rate with those players off the court. About a 5% bump in his usage rate with those players off the court. He averages 43 fantasy points per 36 with those players off the court. And so if he does get around 36 minutes, I do think there's a good chance that he gets this over. We can see Vegas, take the Vegas line. It's confusing here. So you take what the Vegas line is that we're getting for him, divided by his average minutes, and then times it by his projected minutes. We can see that'd be favored for the over. DVP projection likes the over. This is a close scoring game for Toronto, which is pretty big. Like, as long as this game can stay close, then yes, RJ Barrett is someone that should be able to go off in this spot. We see his assist line as well. This one's kind of strange. Like, this is one where I don't mind it on Sleeper. I actually, if you guys are betting on Sleeper, maybe flip for something like this. Over 5.5 assists is not terrible. He averages 7 assists per 36 with those players off the court. And he has been crushing that thus far this season. And another player, you guys know by now, you probably already knew that I was going to recommend Grady Dick, but Grady Dick has been someone that has been playing extremely well this season in general. He does take a big hit in his role with Emmanuel Quickley on the court, but Emmanuel Quickley's off the court again, and he averages 38 points per 36 with Emmanuel Quickley off the court. 38 fantasy points per 36. I mean, that's crazy. He averages 26 points per 36 as well. And obviously a lot of his fantasy score is going to depend on him shooting the basketball well. But this is kind of clearly a decent edge for us, and it's a pretty good matchup as well. So I don't mind the idea of maybe stacking maybe this game in general, but going with Grady Dick and RJ Barrett for over their fantasy score. Again, this game is projected to stay close. That's a decent way for us to take advantage of that. So I do want to talk about Denver as well. So guys, for Denver, we are definitely getting an interesting spot here because Jokic is currently listed as questionable due to personal reasons. If you look at the game line for this game as well, it's only a 4-point spread, which to me tells me that Vegas might be thinking that Jokic is going to sit. And if he does sit, I just want to talk about it. Westbrook really benefits a decent amount. Russell Westbrook averages 18.5 points per 36, 5.8 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 32% usage rate, and 37 fantasy points per 36. Now, I do want to call out, he's probably not going to get 36 minutes, but we have seen him in games with Jamal Murray off the court get 32 and 34 minutes. And so he is someone that could be a candidate to get a slight increase in run in this game. So I did think that was worthwhile, but also obviously we'll talk about Jamal Murray. What we're going to look at is going to be last year's data because we just don't have a big enough sample size this year with Aaron Gordon off the court as well and Jokic. And so just, again, be prepared. 23 points per 36, 4.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, and 32% usage rate, so a good usage rate. And then about 41.5 fantasy points per 36. So he is someone that obviously would get a bump with him out. And then Michael Porter Jr. as well. The issue with Michael Porter Jr. is a lot of his production and really is really dictated by how well he's shooting the basketball. If he's having a cold night shooting, he's not playing all too well. So Porter is someone, though, last year, 21 points per 36. So a slight bump in his points per game, 8.7 rebounds, so a decent bump in his rebounds. Assists actually go down a little bit, 24% usage rate and 35 fantasy points per 36. So about the same there, but he does get a little bit of an increase in his points. Then another player that's worthwhile to talk about is Devin Booker. So he is someone that really should be benefiting more than what he has been. Now with Bradley Beal and also Kevin Durant off the court, I kind of mentioned this. He just hasn't been playing all too well thus far this season. He only averages 27 points per 36 with those players off the court. So he's not someone I think we should be going out of our way to target. And then Tyus Jones does get a decent bump in usage, but also he's not doing much either. He gets a big minutes bump with Beal off the court, but really not much there. And you think there would be with KD and Beal off the court. And then just another spot I want to talk about as well. We're not getting any sportsbook data in on this just yet. There's still players kind of questionable in this game. So it makes sense why we're not getting the lines there. Could kind of shift the dynamic of this game in general. But I want to talk about it. So Jalen Williams, guys, with Chet Holmgren off the court and also Alex Caruso now, his per 36 production is great. He averages 28.3 points per 36, 7.6 rebounds, 7.2 assists, a 25% usage rate, and 58 fantasy points per 36, which is just insane. And so if that continues, obviously the lines that we're getting on him are too low. And I would argue they are too low, assuming that he doesn't have an off night. And then I think we got to look at SGA as well. The one that I like the most with him is actually going to be his points. Now, the concern would be that Phoenix just gets blown out with Beal and KD off the court. That's what actually kind of happened with the Pelicans, where they just didn't need him to score. He does average 37.5 points per 36, though, with Chet Holmgren off the court. He actually gets a 6% bump in his usage rate with Chet Holmgren off the court to about a 38% usage rate. Averages 62 fantasy points per 36 as well. So pretty crazy there. And then lastly, let's talk about De'Aaron Fox. So De'Aaron Fox is someone that should be in for a good game today as well. DeMar DeRozan is going to be out in this game, and he gets a 6% bump in his usage rate to 34% usage rate with DeMar DeRozan off the court. He averages 28 points per 36. And if we look at kind of the rest of the lines that we have coming in on him, they're all kind of correct, minus his points, which is kind of strange. So I want to list this off. So he averages 28.2 points per 36, 6.9 rebounds. So maybe the rebounds we could do over, but only 5.4 assists and 47 fantasy points per 36. So not off by that much. The biggest one here would be his points. So I really don't hate the idea of doing his points for the over. Now, we are getting some other good bets that are popping up here. Might as well touch on them as well. So we got Kelly Oubre Jr. for under his fantasy score, and it's kind of twofold. One, the matchup against Orlando, I think, is worth calling out, guys. Very low game total, close scoring game, though. Oubre has been someone that has been kind of struggling lately as well. I can get behind this. We see the average sportsbook line would have it closer to 22.3. The issue is that the projection data kind of likes to see over there. So did think that one was worth calling out. We will be getting more bets popped in on the board throughout the day, but I did just want to kind of talk about the top ones that are popping up on the cheat sheet as it sits right now. We are getting some decent college football prop bets as well. So we got Aaron Anderson for over to get 4 receptions. This one is kind of favored to be a push. We have Bo Collins to get under 3.5 receptions. That's a decent EV bet there. And then we also have Carson back to get over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So, 3 decent bets here. Another one that's kind of okay. Tight end to get under 2.5 receptions. Okay there. We are seeing a decent receiving yards prop line difference here for Dalton. Is that Dalton Canes, where PrizePicks is just a little bit higher than both Underdog and also the sportsbook lines that we were getting. So lots of decent edges here. And we'll talk about NFL real quick as well. If you guys want to bet on those, by all means, let's go for it. We are getting some pretty decent lines here. And so looking at guys, Kyle Pitts for over his fantasy score is one that's popping up. I actually don't mind that. You look at the matchup with Denver, all the other, like Patrick Surtain is kind of shut down opposing star receivers. So maybe Cortland Sutton struggles in this, so maybe Drake London struggles in this game. And that would only mean that Pitts gets a little bit more of an emphasis. Evan Ingram for under his fantasy score, kind of a decent one there. He has been someone that has kind of struggled lately. Breece Hall under fantasy score, I kind of get that. Reed has been someone that consistently has been able to get the over, gets a good match or gets a bad matchup going against Chicago. So I could see that. Derek Carr over 13 for a fantasy score. Honestly, maybe like when you saw that offense, maybe all they needed was a speed guy, and also Taysom Hill being back's pretty big for them as well. I could see that. That's a pretty low line then. But we are getting so many decent edges here. Jordan Love under 2.5 rush attempts, like a lot of good edges here, guys. All right, guys, actually, we are getting some big prop line differences here. I did this video, or I took so long doing this video that we are now getting some good prop line differences. So let's talk about those real quick. And so these are kind of massive, guys. So Brandon Smith, again, this is off by 5. And I mentioned earlier on in the video that pretty massive weeks on Underdog attacking these middling opportunities. Some of them did middle, but this is huge. So we do see quite clearly that PrizePicks is the wrong line. That being said, like obviously we want to be betting more on PrizePicks, but at the same time, big enough middle to the point where we should be betting the under on Underdog as well. Same thing with Ishmael Leggett here, where we're not getting any sportsbook data coming in on this line, but, and let me just move the edge slider up. This is going to move him off the board just as an FYI because we're not getting that sportsbook data in, but that's off by 3.25. And so that's another middling opportunity there. If we look at his game log, he's been able to crush this over 3 straight games as well. So maybe we like the over a little bit more, but the point still stands. Pretty good middle there. And so this is how we're going to go about attacking the slate, guys, just really attacking these middles. If one of them hits, we're probably sitting pretty. If you want to do 2 slip bets with these, by all means, you can do that as well. But really good opportunities for us here. And then let's continue on. So we got Bruce Thorne, that's off by 1.45. We are seeing the Caleb Love line that I called out earlier, where we do see PrizePicks is definitely the outlier here. We definitely want to be favoring the over there a little bit more, but it is worth calling out. That's a little bit of a prop line difference there as well. Let's flip this around, seeing where maybe PrizePicks is a little bit higher than Underdog. We have one, Danny Wolf, and this is definitely interesting. We typically do not see this happening, but we do see this as like a little bit of a line where, we don't exactly know what to do with it. Just the projection data is agreeing more with Underdog. The average sportsbook line is agreeing more with the PrizePicks line. But still a good middle, 2.45. That should not be happening. That is a massive prop line difference. So we just have so many prop bets here, guys. It's a Friday. This always happens. We get so many big edges on Fridays, which is awesome. So I'm going to be getting into the bet of the day. Do just want to remind you guys to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, make sure to be heading on over to 905sports.com. You guys can get access to all the prop tools and the cheat sheets that you just saw in this video that are constantly updating throughout the day for just $10 a month. When you use the promo code Keep Cashing, get the first month for $8. So take advantage of that promo code as well. And so I know some people were kind of mentioning that the bet of the days were harder to see. That's PrizePicks updated their settings, and you guys will see that. But I changed the slide here. Hopefully it's easier for you guys to see. Obviously, always trying to do stuff that will help you guys out, whether that be viewing or obviously betting. This is a middle. Okay, I want to make this clear. This is a decent middle that we have here. Okay, so really don't mind this. I think this is a decent route to go. And then, guys, we are getting a Underdog like token going on, and I'll show you guys that in a second, where I think it's a 4 slip bet there with Underdog, where if you use NBA bets, you can use that token. Then I did toss in a couple of other kind of middles there in college basketball, but I really just want to highlight the 4 NBA bets that we have right here. And so those are the ones I'm fine using right now, but again, the board will be updating throughout the day. We'll get some better prop bets that are popping up in there. But yeah, it's a no sweat token that we have here. So make sure we're taking advantage of that, guys. Not sure how much it's going to be for you guys, but if you guys want to use that 4 slip bet, by all means go for it. If you want to use a 2 slip bet, by all means go for it. If you guys want to wait to see if we're getting some big edges with fantasy score prop bets, be on the lookout for that as well. Again, this is just such a high volume day, guys. It's crazy. I probably spent too much time doing this video when I probably should have been spending it making bets. This is crazy, but yeah, that's pretty nice there. So full disclosure, this is the bet I was prepared to make on Prize Picks today for Flex Friday, but I might make it a 6-slip bet. We'll see. Now these are the really some of the top 4 bets that we have. We are seeing the Caleb Love bet's a good edge, and the Brandon Smith bet is a good edge, especially compared to Underdog. So I'm indifferent of whether or not I want to just do those two with another other good bet that was popping up on the cheat sheet, or if I really want to go crazy and just do this 6-slip bet. Where obviously the payout's much better, where we're still taking advantage of the two, kind of bets that are popping up as good bets, regardless of Underdog, and then taking advantage of those middling opportunities that we have. I mean, it's a crazy slate, guys. I will say Caleb Love over fantasy score, Brandon Smith over fantasy score are 2 bets I am going to use with that. What is it? Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. We have a Mike Tyson free square. I have already used those with that. And so if you guys want to do that, by all means, go for it. Again, treat this as kind of like Taco Tuesday, where if you're hitting 3 out of your 5 bets that you pair with the Mike Tyson free square, do that 5 times individually. If you guys are capped and you guys know you're capped, just do a 6-slip bet, obviously using the Mike Tyson discounted square there as well. So guys, jam-packed video. Apologies, it's a little bit long. If you guys have never signed up for Underdog and you guys are looking to use that free token that's available, use promo code the 925 spelled out, so 9NINETOFIVE, and you guys will get at least 100% match on a deposit up to $100. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out the channel a bunch. Comment your guys' favorite prop bet. Make sure to be taking advantage of all the discounts that we have today on Friday. Appreciate you guys being here. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.